what if a quiet mind isn't something you force, but something you uncover? And what if an open heart isn't about effort, but about energy moving freely through you? Today, we're exploring meditation not as an escape from life, but as a way of meeting life with steadiness, warmth, and depth. Welcome back to Soul Sparks, where we share small but powerful sparks of insight that can shift how you live, feel, and relate to the world. I am Saima, and today I am joined by Stuart Perrin, an American spiritual teacher of Rudra Meditation, who has been teaching meditation and spiritual practice around the world for over 40 years. We are talking about meditation, chakras, kundalini, energy, and what it truly means to live with a quiet mind and an open heart. So, Stuart, welcome to the show.
Sure.
You're warmly welcome. It's been a pleasure to have you here. So, I'm really curious that when people first come to you seeking meditation, what are they usually longing for beneath the questions they ask?
Well, people come, most people live in this world without any kind of internal balance, or they have minds that are overly active, full of, polarity and conflict, and creating an enormous amount of tension inside people. And, almost everybody that comes to me suffers from this kind of a problem. And the basic teachings that I do, how to build a foundation inside oneself, how to get grounded, how to get rooted so that one can live in the world and be free of the kind of tensions that ordinarily, imprison people in their lives. It's a matter of learning how to do it. I tell people all the time, meditation is not a religion. It's not a cult. Meditation is learning a craft. Learning a craft, we're all born with the tools to master this craft. We just have to truly learn how to use them. And the craft really begins with learning how to build the chakra right below the navel. That chakra is the rootedness, it's the foundation, it's the balance inside a human being. As I once wrote in a book, if a tree, the roots of a tree, are sick, if they're, if they're not working anymore, if a storm comes, the tree is going to get blown away. Karma is like a storm, and people have to deal with that storm every day. And most people deal with it through ego, through, will, through, their self-importance. And all that does is make other people conflicted and a little crazy also. So we need to learn how to deal with it with a quiet mind, an open heart, real rootedness inside, so that we can look out at life, look out at our karma, and understand what it is teaching us every moment, that we're alive. And meditation is simply a practice that enables a human being to do this. I always tell people, happy people are enlightened people, but find a happy person in life. It's very difficult to find somebody that can sustain an open heart, compassion, love in themselves, that have forgiveness, patience with themselves and other people. But once a person develops that kind of level of their humanity, they have truly learned what they were born on the earth to learn. And enlightenment, it becomes, it's just the next step. The first step is learning how to be a human being, learning how to live with compassion, with love, with kindness, with an open heart, and recognizing that there are 8 billion people in this world and every single one of them is going through some kind of suffering. And to spend our time knowing better than everybody else just creates more suffering. But being able to listen to life and listen to other people, to learn from them, and whatever we, see in them, whatever we learn from them teaches us where we have to grow inside ourselves. This takes a remarkable inner strength. And I think human beings have to build that strength inside themselves, in order to get the mind quiet, in order to get the heart open, the throat chakra working, so that when we communicate with other people, we're not communicating through a veil of tension, a veil of having to outdo another human being, but the ability to listen to them, let them teach us, what we have to learn about a situation, so that the first and most important thing that manifests from this is that we grow inside ourselves. We develop the highest levels of our own humanity. This enables us to communicate with other people. We no longer intimidate them, and we no longer threaten them with our ego or, knowing what's right. I think that's maybe one of the most dangerous things, people that always know what's right. My teacher used to kid her. He said, I'd much rather be wrong. He said, if I'm wrong, at least there's something for me to learn in life. If I'm right, there's absolutely nowhere to go. And most people assume they're right. And in assuming they're right, they're very wrong. But they never listen to life to learn what they have to do to fix it. And what I teach people, in my meditation classes, how to build a system inside that enables them to do this. The first step is building the highest levels of our humanity. Forget about a spiritual life. Spiritual life is very organic if we develop our humanity. So the first step is learning how to live with our hearts open, learning how to live as happy people, learning how to live with joy, with love, with patience, with forgiveness for other people. But nobody can do this unless they build a system inside that enables them to truly relate to the world this way. And that's what meditation is for. As I say, it's not a religion, it's not a cult, it's nothing of that nature. It's simply a craft that a human being can learn, and that craft will help them develop the highest levels of their own humanity.
Mm-hmm. I really admire how clearly and grounded you make this, like calling meditation a craft rather than a religion strips away so much misconception and makes it feel very accessible, practical, and human. And the way you describe karma as a storm is such a powerful reminder that people aren't coming to meditation to escape life, but to learn how to stay, steady within it. Now, there's often this idea that meditation means stopping thoughts or becoming blissed out all the time. So, from your experience, what do people tend to misunderstand most about meditation and inner quiet?
Well, meditation is not getting spaced out. It's not becoming a space cadet. The first thing my teacher ever told me when I met him, and this is a long time ago, but the first thing he ever told me is this: bring the focal point of your attention, your mind, to the chakra right below the navel. The chakra below the navel is the area of grounding in a human being. It's the foundation, it's the very core of a person's inner life. The Japanese call that the hara, the Chinese call it the tatien. The power, the chi, they talk about chi. Chi is that power in a human being that enables them to be grounded, and it enables them to not only be grounded, but look, the heart, for instance, it's like a flower. It's like a flower, it's like a lotus flower. But a flower has a stem, it has roots, it it's connected to the earth. You understand? It receives nourishment that way. Human beings spend all their time in their heads, and there's very little grounding, there's very little connection to the very foundation of their being. And meditation is not about, just, getting a kind of buzz and a little bit high and, feeling a little better, but it's about building a system inside that enables us to truly work out our karma, having the strength inside ourselves to do this. Now, I tell people, that study with me, look, there are three things we have to deal with in life. The first one is karma, our activity, our day to day living, and each and every one of us has a very unique karma. There aren't two people on this planet that have the same karma. Each and every one of us has to deal with, the situations that manifest in our daily lives. And as we all know, karma, life, is a very powerful energy. And it's an energy that doesn't allow people, you know, people get very tense when they have to deal with it. And that tension destroys whatever connection they have with a higher force of energy in the universe. In order to deal with your karma, you have to be really grounded inside. You have to have a very strong inner life, a strong foundation. That foundation is in the chakra right below the navel. So the first step in the meditation that I teach is to bring the focal point of your attention. The mind is the strongest instrument we have. And learn how to use the mind almost like a surgical instrument that will open the very core of our being, the foundation. And the next step is to open the heart. And people say, well, how do you open the heart? The easiest way to open the heart is gratitude. There isn't a person alive that doesn't have gratitude for something. Gratitude is the passageway into the heart. And then once the heart is open, you take a breath into the heart chakra. Breath is life. We inhale, we take in life. We exhale, we let go of a part of ourselves. Breath is prayer. It is life. And when the heart opens because we feel gratitude and we're mind is focused below the navel, so we're rooted. There's foundation to keep the heart open. We inhale, we bring in life. Life expands the heart center. The breath, the prana of breath, expands the heart center. And as the heart center gets stronger, we can live here as happy people with love. We're no longer intimidated by the tension of the world, by other people's craziness and insecurity and problems, but we can feel compassion. We have the strength inside ourselves to do this. Being grounded, having the heart open, allows all of that tension that's in the head, all of that conflict that goes on with thought, it then has room to flow down into the chakra below the navel. So it all works together. And the purpose of it all is to give us the strength to deal with our karma, our life, our activity, the problems, the tensions we have to deal with every day, our family, friends, jobs, whatever we have to deal with. It's all our karma. And instead of being upset at it, instead of being angry at it, our heart's open. We can embrace it. We can be thankful for it. It provides food, it provides shelter, clothing, it provides life. So in order to do this, one has to truly master their inner chaos. Now, the second element that I tell people is spirit. Spirit, everybody thinks it's some kind of, very sweet and, that kind of energy. Well, it's not an hors d'oeuvre. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna reveals himself to Arjuna, and it's as if the light of 1,000 suns suddenly appeared in the sky. It's all of life and death, becoming one, and that energy is very, very powerful. And if a person doesn't build a system inside themselves that's strong enough to deal with that energy, to absorb and take that energy inside, the Shakti, the spirit inside them, and then that energy can just burn them up. So again, it gets back to, are they grounded? Is there foundation in them? Is the heart open? Is the mind quiet? And when the mind is quiet, we begin to get real knowledge and real wisdom that comes from the source of creative energy in the universe. So these two things are very powerful elements that one needs, and because of that, one needs to build an inner system by using the craft of meditation to develop themselves so they can work out their karma and they can be a child of God, receiving spiritual energy. The third element is Kundalini. Kundalini is the pathway to enlightenment. is also a very powerful energy. And unless we build a system that can deal with Kundalini, I mean, Kundalini can also burn up a person's system inside. I mean, in fact, you go to, sanitariums, you'll find many, many people in sanitariums, be it through drugs, be it through hallucinations, that have had Kundalini experiences and didn't have the strength inside themselves to deal with it. So a spiritual life, becoming human, these are all incredibly profound, deep elements that have to take place inside a person. And meditation has a singular purpose. That's to build a system that enables us to work out our karma, to be connected to infinite energy, God, whatever you want to call it, and also, be able to experience and allow Kundalini to become the pathway to enlightenment. And meditation is just a craft that makes this possible.
Mhm. I really like the way you bring the heart into this conversation, Scott. Like the image of the heart as a flower, especially in a world where we leave so much in our heads, is incredibly grounding, I must say. And you're pointing to something much deeper than temporary calm or a pleasant state. This idea that meditation is about building an inner system, a relationship with life's energy itself, really reflects the purpose of the practice. And it shifts meditation from a quick fix to a lifelong way of meeting existence with awareness and responsibility. And that's such an important reframe. Now, let's stay with that for a moment. When the mind feels restless or noisy, what's usually happening at a deeper energetic or emotional level?
Well, we have mastered the chaos, internal chaos, and that allows the mind to get quiet. Look, when I was younger, I used to go to satsangs and ashrams and chant and yes, I felt great for like 10 minutes. And then I would leave, and 10 minutes later, my mind would start yakking away, and I said, "No, Stuart. Somewhere in this world, you have to find a person who can teach you, how to build a system inside that is strong enough to sustain this." And I always was in search of real knowledge, real wisdom. I wasn't interested in mediocrity and the kind of stuff that most people take interest in. And searching for it, I could never find it. And the reason I could never find it was there was so much chaos in myself. My mind never shut up. My emotions were like quicksand. Sexual energy was making me crazy, and all that chaos I had to live with every day. And I needed a way, you know, a method of working on myself that would truly allow these elements, to, you know, the mind to get quiet, the emotions to get quiet, sexual energy to get quiet, allow these elements to truly, let me or get to a place where I could truly tap the highest levels of my humanity. And it took 9 years from the time I first realized this to where I found a teacher who taught me this. And I couldn't believe it when I first met him. Most teachers would tell me, love peace and eat vegetables. And I would say to them, look, tell me, how do I get my mind to shut up? And I never got an answer. And this person showed me a method of working on myself that enabled me to finally get my mind quiet, that enabled me to get my heart open, that enabled me to deal with myself and to master the inner chaos inside myself. And I think this is important because we all want knowledge, we all want wisdom. But what interferes with knowledge and wisdom is a noisy head. Our thinking, we don't have all the answers, we rationalize everything. Nothing ever works out quite the way we rationalized it. And that's what interferes with getting knowledge, real knowledge that comes from the source, the kind of knowledge, the kind of energy that creates great music, creates great art, great, literature, that comes from the source of creative energy in the universe. And we as human beings have to just get out of the way and allow that wisdom, that knowledge to become part of our being, to move through our system and to go into each and every chakra. and help to develop us inside, the Shakti, that energy. And I think to me, this is an essential way of not only, never mind a spiritual, just the living every day, just to be able to live quietly and at peace with oneself and truly, allow oneself to be a child of God living in this world and not be, upset because of all the craziness that goes on and the tension, and to understand, that really is never going to change the craziness. And I mean, as I always tell, I never can remember a day in my life where there hasn't been a war someplace on earth. That's not going to change. But what can change is each and every human being learning how to work on themselves and learning how to sit in front of the greatest guru of all, and that's life. And life is endlessly teaching us what we have to do to learn and change inside ourselves. We have to be able to listen to it. In order to listen to life, we have to build the strength inside that allows us to do it. That quiets the mind. That gets the emotions quiet. That enables us to use sexual energy for its true purpose, which is to give life both in the world and inside ourselves. That enables us to truly activate Kundalini and find a pathway to God, to enlightenment.
The way you describe that is incredibly powerful, Stuart. Like seeing we have mastered the chaos, like you said, captured so clearly that how noise and restlessness have become, normalized, almost invisible in modern life. And the distinction you make, like quieting the mind while to allow the heart to come online, enable, feels like a mature, embodied understanding of meditation. And I feel that it's not separation or control, it's alignment. There's a wisdom in that balance which you describe that speaks to years of lived practice and not theory, and that's really remarkable. So Stuart, thank you for spending this time with us on Soul Sparks.
I wrote a book that was published, and people can get this in India through Amazon, through, Ingram, Spark. And this is a book that goes in profoundly into what I teach and what I've been talking about on your program. And I'd recommend people to get it. It's called Rudra Meditation, Transforming Life's Tension into Joy and Love. And it could be gotten from Amazon. It could be gotten from, maybe any bookstore in India that sells, English books, and most of them do. Because, I've been in India 40 times. I really know India quite well. And there are a lot of bookstores that sell it, and and people could get it there, and they would really, by reading that, they could get a very deep insight into what I teach. And I tell you also, it'll be a joy for me to come back and do another session like this with you. I love to share what I have learned in my life with people, and I hope that it can honestly and truly help other people find a way to build their own inner lives and have a spiritual life and also develop their own humanity. So thank you. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for inviting me back. And another element about this book is we just did a podcast of it, and that should be coming out probably within the next, I think, 10 to 20 days. So people can listen to the book, while they're driving, while they're walking, whatever they're doing during the day. So all of these things are available. And one other thing, people, if they're interested, they can go to my website. It's stuartperrin.com. And I talk a great deal about this on my website. And once again, thank you. Thank you for having me. I really have a deep sense of gratitude to be able to share what I've learned in my life with the people, hopefully, that are listening to this podcast. So God bless you, dear. Thank you.
You're warmly welcome. Listeners, if today's conversation resonated, take a moment to sit, breathe, and notice what's already present within you. Until next time, stay gentle, stay curious, and keep those inner sparks alive.